Virtual board meetings can be structured to focus on essential agenda items, promoting a more concise and efficient discussions. 5. Enhanced security and confidentiality. Greetings and welcome to the lesson. We are going to answer question number 5, April 2022 Boardroom Dynamics. Question 5A, I read, technology consistently brings us many innovative tools and offers extended functionality, including the ability to attend virtual board meetings. With reference to the above statement, analyze 5 benefits and 5 challenges of virtual board meetings. So this is 2 questions in one, benefits and challenges. Benefits and challenges. So we begin by analyzing the benefits of virtual meetings. Benefits of virtual meetings. What are virtual meetings, first of all? Virtual meetings are meetings of a governing body. All right? Because these are benefits of virtual board meetings. Benefits of virtual board meetings. What are virtual board meetings? What are virtual board meetings? Virtual board meetings are meetings of a governing body, such as a board of directors, that take place in a digital or online environment instead of the traditional in-person setting. Is a board meeting that takes place on a digital platform in a digital environment. So what are the benefits of having a board virtual meeting? One benefit is accessibility and convenience. Accessibility and convenience. Virtual board meetings enable directors from different locations to do what? To participate without the need to travel. That is convenience. This convenience allows for more frequent and timely meetings. It's convenient to have virtual meeting than the physical meeting. So accessibility and convenience is one of the main benefits of virtual board meetings. 2, cost savings. Cost savings. By eliminating travel expenses, virtual board meetings can significantly reduce the overall cost of board operations, making efficient use of resources. 3, flexibility and scheduling. Flexibility and scheduling. Virtual board meetings offer greater flexibility in scheduling, accommodating the availability of board members across different time zones and across different busy schedules. Flexibility in scheduling. The 4th benefit of virtual board meeting is improved efficiency. Improved efficiency. Board virtual meetings improves efficiency. Virtual board meetings can be structured to focus on essential agenda items, promoting a more concise and efficient discussions. 5. Enhanced security and confidentiality. Enhanced security and confidentiality. Now, candidates, modern virtual meeting programs come with robust security features, ensuring that sensitive board discussions and materials are protected. That is one advantage of virtual board meetings. Then let's look at the challenges. Challenges of virtual board meetings. What are the challenges of having virtual board meetings, meetings that are held online? The first obvious challenge is technical issues. I know some of you may have had some online meetings, virtual meetings, and you must have experienced technical issues when attending virtual meetings. There could be what we call technical glitches, such as internet connectivity problems or even software malfunctioning, which can disrupt the flow of a meeting and hinder effective communication. Technical issues. Number 2, limited nonverbal cues. Limited nonverbal cues. Virtual meetings may lack the richness of nonverbal cues present in face-to-face interactions, making it harder to gauge participants' reactions and engagement. It's not easy to have to communicate non-verbally because of the limitation of having the meetings online. There are also cyber security risks. Cyber security risks. This is also a challenge. Virtual board meetings may be susceptible to cyber attacks, would compromise confidential information and board deliberations. 4, engagement and attention. How is engagement and attention a problem? Maintaining the engagement and attention of all board members during virtual meetings can be challenging because of disruptions in remote settings, which may lead to reduced focus. Attention. Paying attention when holding virtual board meetings can be a challenge. 5, inclusive participation. Inclusive participation. How is it a challenge? Now, ensuring equal participation, ensuring equal engagement from all board members can be more difficult in virtual meetings, especially if certain individuals are less comfortable with technology or less assertive in remote settings. So these are 5 challenges. 1, technical issues. 2, limited verbal cues. 3, cyber security risks. Number 4, lack of attention. Number 6, it's not easy to have inclusive participation. 5 marks. We had discussed the benefits earlier. One benefit of virtual board meetings is accessibility and convenience. cost savings, flexibility and in scheduling, it leads to improved efficiency and enhanced security and confidentiality, 5 marks. That is part A. Part B of question 5, summarize 5 best practices for virtual board meetings. 5 best practices for virtual board meetings. B. These are 5 virtual board meetings practices. 5 practices for virtual board meetings. What are the best practices for virtual board meetings? The first best practice is reliable technology. Reliable technology. Reliable technology. Reliable technology. It's important for the board to invest in a secure and reliable virtual meeting platform with features such as screen sharing, voting tools, participant controls, in order to ensure smooth and efficient meetings. Number 2, pre-meeting preparation. Pre-meeting preparation. The board should distribute meeting materials well in advance, including the agenda, the reports, and any relevant documents, to give board members adequate time to review and prepare for discussions. That is a good best practice, pre-meeting preparation. 3, clear communication guidelines. Clear communication guidelines. The management should establish clear communication protocols for virtual meetings, such as raising of hands to speak, that is a communication protocol, or using the chat functions for questions, and even muting microphones when not speaking. That is one of the best practices for virtual board meetings. Number 4, facilitated discussions. Facilitated discussions. The board may consider appointing a skilled meeting facilitator or a chairperson to guide discussions, to keep the meeting on track and ensure that all participants have an equal opportunity to contribute. So that is a good best practice. There ought to be a trained facilitator who can guide the board members in holding virtual board meetings. Then the last best practice is in relation to cyber security measures. Cyber security measures. The board should implement a robust cyber security measures in order to protect sensitive board information, such as using secure login credentials, as well as encryption of data transmission, and so on. So candidates, these are best practices, and by following these best practices, organizations can ensure that their virtual board meetings are efficient, secure, productive, and they lead to effective governance and decision making. So these are 5 best practices. 1, reliable technology. 2, pre-meeting preparation. 3, clear communication guidelines. Number 4, facilitated discussions. Then lastly, cyber security. 5 best practices, 5 marks. And candidate, this question has been tested many times. We've answered it here several times. So you can see why I always tell you the boardroom dynamics paper is a very interesting paper. It's an easy paper because the subject just revolves around matters to do with what happens in the boardroom, the dynamics in the boardroom. It restricted, the topics in this subject are restricted to the nature of restriction, the nature of interactions, and also the relationships and behaviors of board members in the boardroom, what we are referring to as boardroom dynamics. So we come to the end of the revision of the April 2022 paper. We began by answering the case study in question 1, which carries 40 marks. Then we'll answer question 2 to up to question 5, which carry 15 marks each. And thank you for attending the lesson. We remain faithful to providing solutions for all the problems in the Certified Secretaries course. We've answered all questions, and you can have the questions on our website. Log into the website and you can subscribe. If you have any questions, you can send your questions. The good thing with our video lectures is that the videos can be downloaded for offline use. You don't need to have internet throughout in order to watch the videos. No, you can download all the videos and study offline. If you have any challenges downloading, we can help you to download. You can reach out to us through the official lines on the website. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Hello learners, welcome to Manifested Publishers. My name is Celestine Wandabusi. Today I'm introducing you to Management Accounting, September 2021 sitting. The main objective is to solve all the questions, but we'll be handling one question at a time. So I want to give some instructions for that case. I expect you to carry your calculator so that you fully participate in the class. So when we'll be solving questions, I hope you to participate. And then I'm also instructing you that you have writing materials. Ensure that you are writing as you fully participate in this class. So the paper normally consists of 5 questions, and you are supposed to do them all. Each question carries marks, and they are always allocated and written below each paper. So the instruction is answer all questions. Marks allocated to each question are shown at the end of the question. Show all your workings. So when we'll be solving each question, we have to show all our workings. And since you are candidates, follow the way we'll do it, so that you'll be able to pass your exams. So we are beginning with question number 1, and I'll just read part A of question number 1. Identify and explain 4 types of costs that are irrelevant for decision making. Identify and explain 4 types of costs that are irrelevant for decision making. Costs that are irrelevant for decision making are those costs that cannot be used in making decisions. And so I'll mention some of these costs, and one of them is a sunk cost. So A, we have types of irrelevant costs. So I'll mention them and then I'll explain. Roman 1, we have sunk costs. Roman 2, we have committed costs. Roman 3, we have non-cash expenses. And 4, we have fixed overheads. All these are irrelevant costs. So a sunk cost is a cost that has already been incurred, and therefore it cannot be changed. And therefore it is normally irrelevant in decision making. A cost that cannot be changed cannot be used in making any decisions. And a good example of a sunk cost is the cost that was used for purchasing something like a motor vehicle in an organization. This cost is already incurred and therefore it will not be changed. And then we have committed costs. Committed costs are future costs that cannot be altered. And a good example of a committed cost is an insurance premium. In this case, you will not be able to change it, and again, it will not be relevant in decision making. We also have a non-cash expense. Non-cash expenses are those expenses that do not include cash transactions. And a good example is depreciation and amortization. They are also irrelevant in decision making. Then fixed costs are those costs that tend to remain unchanged. Especially in the short run, they cannot be changed. And therefore, when we are making decisions, they will not be changed and they cannot be involved in decision making. So those are the main types of costs that are irrelevant in decision making. And then we move on to question 1, part B. Part B of question number 1, we are told that Mayton Limited reported the following production costs for the 12-month period from 1st January 2020 to December 2020. So we've been given the period. We have total production cost, which is in shillings, and we have the level of activity in units produced. So the period is ranging from January to December, and then we've been given data on total production cost and the level of activity. So we are required, part 1, using linear regression, establish the production function in the form of y equals a plus bx. So in regression analysis, we normally seek to establish the relationship between variables that we have been given. And the main important part of this question that will help you answer it effectively is for you to be able to determine the variables. We normally have 2 variables in linear regression. And one is normally an independent variable and the other one is a dependent variable. So what is an independent variable? It is a variable which lays the foundation for the estimation of the other. And the other variable in this case is the dependent variable. And the dependent variable is that which is being estimated. So like we've been given the total production cost and we have the level of activity. So the question is, which is the independent variable and which is the dependent variable? So the first step you need to understand is determine the variables. And therefore, we are to identify the x, which is representing the independent, and the y, which is representing the dependent. So according to what we have, level of activity will be our independent variable. Why independent variable? Because it's acting as a cost driver, and a cost driver is an activity that causes a cost to be incurred, and so it is the one that is causing total cost to be incurred. So total production cost in this case will be our Y variable. So once you've determined that, we now apply the formula, and our main intention is to be able to know the value of A and the value of B in this function y equals A plus bx. So how do we determine the values of A and B? We are normally given the formula, and this is the formula. Sum of y equals NA plus B sum of x. So this will be our equation 1 because it's normally a simultaneous equation, and sum of xy equals A summation x plus B summation x squared. This becomes our equation 2. So remember, we want to find the values of A and the values of B. N in this case is simply referring to number of observations or number of items that we have. Y is our dependent variable and X is our independent variable. So we have already been given the values of X and Y, and therefore we will now substitute what we have in our formula so that we use this formula to find the values of A and B. So how do we do this? This is the format we use. We'll have it in the in the table format. So we can have X. I think because of space, we can use the other side. So we'll have our table this side. So we'll have X, we'll have Y, we'll have X squared, and then we'll have XY. So we've already been given the values of X, which is the level of activity, and so we simply write the figures. So we'll have 30, 22, 33, 39, 41, 24, 29, 32, 38, 15, 45, and 35. And then we write the corresponding values now for Y, which is total production cost. So the corresponding figure for that is 460. We have 300, 480, 550, 570, 310, 410, 455, 530, 250, 700, and 490. So we want to find the values for x squared. To calculate x squared, we are squaring the values of x. So our first value is 30, and therefore x squared will simply be 30 squared. So when you calculate 30 squared, 30 squared will give you 900. Then we calculate 22 squared, which will give us 484. Then 33 squared, this will give us 1089. 39 squared will give us 1521. Then we have 41 squared. This will give us 1681. Then 24 squared, which will give us 576. 29 squared will give us 845. 41. 32 squared will give us 1024. Then 38 squared will give us 1444. 15 squared will give us 225. 45 squared will give us 2025. And then 35 squared will give us 1225. So that will be our x squared. And then we calculate xy. Xy is where we are simply multiplying the values of x and the values of y. So for our first one, we are simply taking 30 multiplied by 460. And this will give you 13,800. Then the second one is 22 multiplied by 300, which will give us 6,600. Then 33 multiplied by 480. This will give us 15,840. The next one is 39 multiplied by 550, and this will give us 21,450. Then we have 41 multiplied by 570. This will give us 23,370. 24, that's the next one, times 310. This will give us 7,440. Then the next one is 29 multiplied by 410. This will give us 11,890. Sorry, 11,890. Then we have 32 multiplied by 455. So 32 multiplied by 455 will give us 14,560. Then next is 38 multiplied by 530, which will give us 20,140. The next one is 15 times 250. This will give us 3,750. Then 45 multiplied by 700 will give us 31,500. And the last one is 35 multiplied by 490, which will give us 17,150. So once we have calculated the values of x squared and xy, we are using the formula. We are to find the sum of y. We find the sum of xy, sum of x, and sum of x squared. So we are to get the sum of all this. And sum simply means we are adding the values, beginning with the x column. So we have 30 plus 22 plus 33, 33 plus 39 plus 41 plus 24 plus 29 plus 32 plus 38 plus 15 plus 45 plus 35, and the total is 383. Then we do the same for y column. We add the values. So 460 plus 300 plus 480 plus 550 plus 570 plus 310 plus 410 plus 455 plus 530 plus 250 plus 700 plus 490. This will give us 5,505. We calculate the sum of x squared, so 900 plus 484 plus 1089 plus 1521 plus 1681 plus 576 plus 841 plus 1024 plus 1444 225 plus 2025 plus 1225. So this will give us 13,035. And then lastly we calculate the xy, 13,800 plus 6,600 plus 15,840 plus 21,450 plus 370 plus 7440 plus 11,890 plus 14,560 plus 2140 plus 3750 31,500 plus 17,150. This will give us 187,490. So from here we now apply the formula. Sum of y equals na plus b sum of x. So our sum of y is 5,505. This will be equal to, n is referring to the number of observations. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So our n is 12. So we'll have 12a plus sum of x, which is 383b. And so this becomes our first equation. And then we have sum of x. In the second line of the formula, sum of x y is 187,490. This will be equal to, sum of x is 383a plus sum of x squared is 13,035, and this becomes, 13,035b, and this will form our equation number 2. So once we have substituted the figures in our formula, we now solve the equation simultaneously. So when we are solving our equation simultaneously, what we normally do is we just use the elimination method. And the elimination method is where we are either eliminating A or we are eliminating B. So because A has lower figures, we can eliminate A. How do we eliminate A? I think the best way to do it, especially in your exams, is just to cross multiply. We want to make figures at A equal so that when we subtract, we make this A 0. So we take 383 and you multiply you multiply it by the first line. 383 multiplied by the first line, and take 12 and multiply it by the second line. So this will help you to have equal values at A, and the intention is to eliminate A. So when we do this, this is affecting all the values in this line. So we are taking 383 and we are multiplying by 5,505. This will give us 2,108,415, which should equal 383 times 12. This will be 4056 A plus 383 squared will give us 146,689B. And then we do the same with the second line. We take 12, we multiply by 187,490, which will give us 2,249,880, which will equal 383 times 12. That will give us 4,596A plus 12 multiplied by 13,035. This will give us 156,420B. So from here we simply subtract. And when we subtract, this is what we will get. So we have 2,108,415 minus 2,249,880. This will give us negative 141,465. So this will be, we've eliminated A, and that A is now a 0. So we subtract the B, 146,689 minus 156,420, which will give us negative 9731B. So once we do this, our intention is to find the value of B. So to find the value of B, we are dividing both sides by 9,731. And therefore we'll have negative 141,465 divided by 9,731, which will equal to negative 9,731B, and we divide by negative 9,731. So when you solve this, you will find that B equals B will be equal to 14.54, and that is our B value. And from there we can now find A. So how do we calculate the value of A? To calculate the value of A, we are simply using our value B, which is 14.54, and substituting it into our equation so that we find the value of A. So since 5,000 had smaller figures, we can use that for substitution. So we have 5,505 equals 12A plus 383B. We want to substitute our B, which we've already calculated, and therefore we'll have 5,505 equal to 2A plus 383, and our B is 14.54. Now do the calculation. So we will have 5,505 equals 12A plus, when you take 383 times 14.54, you will get 5,568.82. So from here we select the like terms. So we'll have 12A equals 568.82 minus 505. So 12A will be equal to will be equal to 63.82, and then from there we divide 12 on both sides so that we find the value of A. So we are dividing this by 12, and then A will be equal to 5.31. we round it off, 32. So this will be the value for A. So the question required us to use linear regression to establish the production function in the form of y equals a plus bx. So to establish this equation, we already have the values of a and b, and you simply substitute the values into this function. So we'll have y equals, our a is 5.32 plus our b is 14.54x, and this will have answered part 1 of that question. So we now move on to part 2 of our question. So we were told in part 2 that from the equation in B1 above, estimate the production cost that will be incurred on 50 units. So what this statement is referring to is, we are simply to find y when x equals 50 units. So remember, our independent variable was the level of activity, which was in units, and that's normally abbreviated by x. So we are finding y when x is 50 units. So to do that, we are simply using this function that we've established, y equals 5.32 plus 14.54. So if x is 50 units, so we substitute that in that equation. And from here we can find the value of y. So when you calculate, we'll have 5.32 plus 14.54 multiplied by 50. So y will be equal to 5.32 plus 727, which is 732 shillings, 0.32. So it is in shillings because y represented the total production cost, which was in shillings. And that is how you are to answer part 2 of that question. So we move on to part 3 of our question. And the question is, state any 2 advantages of regression method of cost estimation. Advantages. So it is in shillings, and we now move on to answering part 3 of our question. So part 3 states that state any 2 advantages of regression method of cost estimation. 2 advantages of regression method. So advantages of regression method. So the advantages will include, number 1, it applies mathematical techniques. 2, it is non-subjective. 3, it uses all data points. And even 4, it has statistical vigor. So I can explain. So it applies mathematical techniques. That simply means it cannot be influenced by any analyst. And anytime we have more than one analyst, in part 2 we are saying that it is non-subjective. They will always come up with the same answer. And I have said that if we are to compare regression analysis with account analysis, in account analysis, The answer is normally based on the judgment of the accountant, especially when we are separating mixed cost either as variable or fixed cost. Like what I may consider, or what is a fixed cost in one organization may be a mixed cost in another different organization. And so when we separate, you will realize that one fixed cost in one organization may not equally be the same as another one in another organization. So we say in that case it is subjective and not objective. But regression analysis is non-subjective, meaning it will always give the same answer even when we have several analysts using it. Then it uses all data points. We include all the data that we have been provided with. Like in high-low method, we only pick 2 points, high and low. Those are the points we use, but in regression analysis, we are including all points, which makes it an advantage. And then it has statistical vigor, meaning we can be able to measure the size of the error, so long as we can be able to come up with the right probability that can help us in doing that. And those are the advantages of regression analysis. So that brings us to the end of our question number 1.
Thank you for attending our study sessions. Welcome to our today's session. In today's session, we are still dwelling on the introduction to the derivative market and instrument. In our prior lesson, we learned the introduction element where we saw a derivative being a contract, and a contract in which it derives its value from another asset. This other asset, we are calling it what? An underlying. This underlying can be a bond, can be a share, can be a currency, or a commodity. We have seen the introduction bits of the types of the types of derivative instruments. They were, one, the forward commitments. In the forward commitments, we have looked at two. One was the futures contract, and the forward contracts. In the forward contract, we have seen they trade under the OTC, unregulated and private engagements market. And then we have seen the futures trade under what? The stock, the securities exchange. They are public transactions. They have lesser risk because of the process we call marking to market. Today, we are still on introduction to derivative market. Markets and instruments. Yeah, we have seen the types of derivatives. We are on the topic types of derivatives. The types of derivatives, we have seen forward commitments, and in forward commitments we have seen of 3 types. We have seen the futures, we have seen the forwards, and we have seen the swaps. The second type are called contingent claims. In contingent claims, we are talking about what? Options. And then we have hybrid instruments. In hybrid instruments, we have an example to deal with, for example, swaptions. Let us look what we call contingent claims. Contingent claims are derivatives in which the payoffs occur if a specific event happens. So what are contingent claims? We are saying that they are derivatives in which the payoffs occur if a specific event happens. Payoffs occur if a specific event happens. What do we mean by this? We refer generally to them by the name option. An option is a financial instrument in which gives one party the right but not the obligation to buy or sell an underlying asset from another party at a fixed price over a specific period. So we generally refer to them as options. And how do options behave? They give the right, but not what? The obligation, but not the obligation. And when you have the right to do what? To buy or sell. Yeah? The right to buy, yeah, or sell. The right to buy is called the right to buy. Right to buy is called call. Such that if you have the right to buy, we'll say we have what? A call option. Then the right to sell here we have what? The put option. So we are saying the call option gives the holder the right to buy a what? A financial asset at a future date with a price agreed what? Upon today of a specific time. So we are saying this, the future price is agreed today. Future price is agreed at the start. At the start of the contract, we are saying is what? Today. Over what? Over a period, over a specified period of time. Specified period of time. That is what options are. An option that gives the right to buy is referred to as a call. An option that gives the right to sell is referred to as a put. The action of buying or selling is called exercising the option. So what is this action? When you say you are now want to exercise this right, so exercising the option. This is executing the right. You are executing the right. So when I say we are exercising the call option, I'm saying you are what? Deciding to buy. When I say you are exercising the put option, you have made the decision what? To sell. And when you execute, at what price do you execute? It is called the exercise price. Exercise price. Yeah. So the action of buying or selling the underlying asset is exercising the option at what? The exercise price. So the holder who has the right to exercise will only do so if it is advantageous. Otherwise, the option will expire unexercised. We say that in contingent claims, they depend on a particular what? The payoffs depend on a specific event happenings. If you want to buy, and this contract that you are signed, you say you are going to buy maybe the KCB share at 50. When the market conditions are that the KCB share is selling maybe for 48 shillings. Of course, no one would like to buy at the expensive price of 50, would like to buy at 48. So therefore, you will not what? Exercise the option, you let it expire. Or put it the other way. If the KCB share is selling at 50 and the contract is what? Stipulating that you will sell. You have the option to sell at 48. Of course, you cannot sell at the raw price when the market is offering what? 50. Therefore, you let the option expire. So the payoff, that's why we are saying it's a contingent claim. To acquire the rights, how do you acquire these rights? To acquire the right, the buyer of the option must pay a price at the start of the contract. And this price is called what? The option price or the option premium. At the start of the contract, the buyer of the right will have to pay what? Option premium or option price. The option premium is like a payment so that you acquire the right but not what? The obligation. Because the option buyer has the right to buy or sell the asset, the seller option has the potential what? Commitment to buy. So he gets the right but not the obligation. But the seller of the right must what? Honor the bargain. So in options, where do options trade? Option can trade in either the two markets. They can either trade in the OTC, over the counter market, or they can trade what? In the the securities exchange market. And we have what? Seen earlier. There are other various forms of contingent claims, other forms other than the options, other forms. These forms include things like convertible bonds, and what are convertible bonds? These are offering the holder the option feature that enables the bondholder to participate in the gains in the market price of the corporation's stock without having to participate in the losses of the stock. We are saying if you have a convertible bond and you see to it that the stock, what is a convertible bond? Let me start there. A convertible bond is the one that grants the bondholder, if it is favorable to him, to convert from the bond to what? To the stock. If the stock prices are moving upwards in a favorable manner, then he would entice to convert from that being a bond to a share. And we are saying what? It is a type of contingent claim. The other type is called the callable bonds. What are callable bonds? In the case of option of the issuer to pay off the bond before maturity, the borrower, the company that has issued the bond, if the interest rates fall and this bond is with high interest rate, it can what? he can pay off the bond before maturity. We are calling what? The callable bonds. We have asset-backed securities. Asset-backed securities. We know that an asset-backed security is a claim on a pool of securities. We have learned that elsewhere. And this pool might be like mortgage, loans, or a portfolio combined. And then with asset-backed security, they have a feature that when the interest rates fall on, people can make what? More payment than the scheduled payment. And this feature of them having more payment than the scheduled payment, we are calling what? The prepayment feature. So we have seen the various what contingent claims are. Let us touch on hybrid instruments. With hybrid instruments, we are saying these are combinations of the various forms of derivatives. For example, we can have a swaption. What is a swap? We say that a swap is an arrangement between one party to exchange either the fixed with the variable. So with a swap here, we are saying there is party A and there is party B. Party A is currently paying loans at a fixed rate. Party A is currently paying this at a fluctuating rate. Party B would like to get exposure to the fixed rate. Party A would like to get exposure to what? The fluctuating or the variable rate. So they exchange, they have created a swap. What if this contract has the options that I will exchange when certain interest rate reach or when certain interest rate decline? Then when that combination is combined with swaps, we have what? Swaptions. And that's how we get the hybrid instruments. We are supposed to look at the other item which we call the purpose of derivative markets. What are the purpose of derivative market? Why do we have derivatives? The purpose of derivative market. One purpose which we call price discovery. What do we mean? We have the first purpose we call price discovery. The second is risk management. From risk management, we have a third which is called improve market efficiency. And reduce transaction costs. So what do we mean by price discovery? We are saying participants to a derivative contract agree today to buy or sell an item at a future what? Price. So when we try to bet about future outcomes, we are able to get what? The future prices, isn't it? So when we are able to get future prices, we are what? Getting a feel about the future outcomes, which is price discovery. Derivative as risk management tools. We know that one of the ways that people can reduce risk is through what? Hedging. When you do hedging, we are saying an hedger is someone with the core mandate to enter into derivative market to what? Exchange risk. For example, the party that is paying fixed here could be that there is what? Uncertainty about, the party that is paying fluctuating rate could be that there is uncertainty about the future occurrences, isn't it? You'd like a fixed rate. So in order to get off that risk, he engages with the party that what? Wants to get that risk. Maybe party A has that the future earnings are what? Linked to the happenings of the economy. That's want to merge that the revenues and the cost are what? Varying, and the party B as what? Fixed elements. Yeah, that is the element of hedging. Or you like that you do not know how tomorrow will work up to be. We do not know what the KCB share tomorrow will be. If it will be either 50 shillings or 49 or 51. In order to hedge that risk, we enter in the contract to fix the rate to be 50 shillings per KCB share. That is risk management. With the improved market efficiency, when we are saying market efficiency, is the people participating in financial market, they become many. The buyers become many, the sellers become many. Of course, when there are many sellers and many buyers, the what? The market forces, isn't it? The forces of demand and supply are able to what? Function efficiently through introducing many participants. Introducing many participants. We also agree with me is that it is cheaper to buy a contract than to buy the entire what? The entire portfolio. For example, we have indices or an index. An index being a composition of different maybe shares of different bonds. For you to gain exposure to an index, it is cheaper to go to through a contract that this index I'll buy it at a future date at these points or at this price than to buy the individual what? Securities in an index. For example, the all share index in the Nairobi Securities Exchange, the 25 share index has 25 securities shares of the listed NSE firms. So for you to gain at the 25 share index, you do not have to buy all the index, and that convenience for not buying all the items in the index gives you what? Reduced transaction cost. The other element we are supposed to look at, is the elementary principles or market participants. Who are the market participants in derivatives? Market participants. There are three market participants. The first participant is called the arbitragers. The second participant is called the hedgers. And the third participants are called the speculators. The categories. We know the investment banks, there are the rest multinational corporations, but they fall in this broad category. Who are arbitragers? Arbitrager is any market participant in the derivative market who tries to come and profit from asset mispricings. And you make what you call riskless profits. Riskless profits. Yeah. For us to conceptualize an arbitrager, assume, for example, a bag of maize is selling in the Eldoret market for 2,000 shillings. To transport that maize to Nairobi, where it is selling 3,000 shillings, we incur a transportation cost of 2,500 shillings per bag. So our initial cost being 2,000, add the transport cost of 500, we can be able to sell this bag in Nairobi for 3,000 shillings, thereby making a profit of 3,000 minus the initial cost of 2,000 minus the transport cost of 500. So the total cost will be 2,500, and our price in Nairobi is 3,000. We will be able to make a profit of what? 500. So the mispricing between the market, these participants are called what? They are arbitragers. The hedgers primarily participate in derivative market to what? Rid themselves of the risk. Yeah. So we have seen in risk management, one of the strategies is hedging. So hedgers rid themselves. Their primary motive to come in derivative market is to get risk off. Speculators, these do two things. They enter the derivative market to do what? Forecasting. In forecasting, they want to make future bets of prices. For example, a speculator can say and speculate that the KCB share 3 months from now will be worth 52 shillings. And he make what? A contract. If it, and he says, I will maybe buy. If the KCB share will be trading at 51, isn't it? It does not what? Trade. But if it is trading at 53, higher than the bet he had already made, he enters the market, buys and sells at what? Higher prices. So they forecast what? To make profits, from the forecast. So speculators are the participants who make forecast and want to make profits from what? Future price movement. If prices move according to their wish, then they are able what? To make profits. And this does not involve the reckless assumption of risk. With that, we can mention something about the elementary principles of derivative pricing. The elementary principles of derivative pricing. Here, we are going to look at a preliminary glance on how derivative contracts are priced. First, we will introduce the concept of arbitrage. From the market participants of arbitragers, we have seen that it occurs when an equivalent asset or a combination of assets sell for two different prices. This situation creates the opportunity to profit at no risk with commitment of any money. So we have seen on how we can maybe take the stock that is selling more than this given what? Value. For example, suppose a stock is trading at Kenya shillings 100. The stock is trading at Kenya shillings 100. And in one market, and Kenya shillings 98 in another market. Kenya shillings 98. Yeah. In another market, we simply buy the share for the Kenya shillings 98 in one market and immediately sell it for the Kenya shillings 100 in the other market. We have a net position in the stock, so that it does not matter the price whether it moves. It means that we are buying and selling. In so doing, the sale of the stock at Kenya shillings 100 is more adequate to finance what? The purchase of the stock at 98. Naturally, many market participants would like to do this, which could create the downward pressure, yeah, on the price where it is trading at 100. Remember that with the market efficiency, introducing many participants brings about efficiency. Because when you increase the demand here, holding other factors constant, the price will come what? The price will come down. Eventually, the two prices must come together. Eventually, this will come down, yeah, because people do not want this, they are selling it. Is that eventually the price will move up a bit, isn't it? So that there is but a single price for the stock. So now this will be Kenya shillings 100 and this will be Kenya shillings 100. So there is a single what? Price for the stock. Accordingly, where there is no arbitrage opportunity, we have the next concept we call the law of one price. In the law of one price, prices are set to eliminate the opportunity to profit at no risk with no commitment of one funds. There are no opportunities for arbitrage profit. So we are saying no opportunities for arbitrage profit. Yeah. Markets in which arbitrage opportunities are either non-existent or are quickly eliminated are relatively efficient markets. And we are saying that thus the most violations of the market efficiency when profits, arbitrage profits exist, will be what? Will be the key considerations when we will be doing what? Derivative pricing. We are able to do in pricing, set prices, we'll be able to set prices that present no arbitrage opportunity. We are going to set prices that present no arbitrage opportunity. That is all touching on the elementary principles of derivative. Thank you for having attended our today's session, where we have begun the lesson from contingent claims. We have seen that derivatives has two major types of contracts: the forward commitments and contingent claim. In forward commitment, in our prior lesson, we learned about futures, swaps, and forwards. Contingent claims, today we have learned about options, the right to buy, but not the right to either buy or sell, but not the obligation. The right to buy, we have said, is a call option. The right to sell is the put option. The price that the participants pay for that right is called the option price. We have also seen there a combination of various derivative instruments we've called the swaptions. We've called the hybrid instrument. They combine various forms of derivative. And an example we have given is a swaption, where the party that is paying the variable would like to link it with an option that I will exercise this right when a future occurrence happens. We have seen why derivative market exists, because participants what? Not only want to know about future happenings, that is price discovery, they want to get rid of their risk through hedging, for example, which is risk management. And we have seen at length as how they improve market efficiency by what? Removing arbitrage opportunities.